Having covered all the 42 slokas of chapter 4, let us recapitulate by summarizing chapter 4. In the second chapter, Lord Krishna describes Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga in detail, and in the third, he discusses the Karma Yoga. In this fourth chapter, Jnana, Karma, Sanyasa Yoga, many topics have been covered. Glories of the Lord's incarnations and the attributes of the Lord are described in detail. And then the Lord talks about Karma Yoga. He talks in detail about Nishkama Karma, selfless karma. The glories of sages and yogis are also described in detail. And then the various sacrifices are listed. The different types of sacrifices are listed and dealt with in detail. And then finally, the Lord talks about the glories of knowledge. At the outset of the fourth chapter, Lord Krishna points out that he initiated the lineage of this yoga to Vivaswan. Imam vivasvate yogam proktavanaham avyayam vivasvan manave praha manurikshvakave bravit. So, this yoga was initiated to Vivasvan, the sun god, and then it passed on to Manu, Ikshvaku and others, and in course of time this knowledge was lost. To Arjuna's question on Vivasvan's birth being much earlier, Lord Krishna replies, you and I have had many births and I am aware. The Lord tells that I am aware of all those births, but you are not aware. Further, the Lord tells Arjuna that I subjugate my prakriti, that is my nature, and I manifest in different forms through my own yoga maya, that is my divine potency. And then the Lord tells Arjuna when he incarnates. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirbhavati bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. So when does the Lord incarnate? Whenever, wherever dharma, that is righteousness, is on decline. Okay, and adharma is on increase. I incarnate. That is tadatmanam srijamyaham. I incarnate. And then the Lord further tells why does he incarnate? What is the purpose of his incarnation? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So the Lord incarnates to paritranaya sadhunam. He incarnates to protect the sadhus, the virtuous. Vinashaya dushkritam. Dushkritam, evildoers. So also to destroy the dushkritam, evildoers. Dharma samsthapanarthaya, to restore and establish dharma on a firm footing. Sambhavami yuge yuge. The Lord incarnates from age to age. The point to be noted here is that Lord Krishna tells Arjuna that even he, that is the Lord himself, has birth and death. Of course, it is for a higher purpose. Providing further insights on his incarnations, the Lord tells that even though he seems active, he is free from all activities and their outcomes. He is both akarta and abhokta. And he further tells that I have no craving for the fruits of action and hence I am not tainted by them. Those who understand, that is persons who understand this transcendental nature of the Lord, get liberated. The Lord then talks about selfless action. Tyaktva karma phala sangam nitya tripto nirashrayah karmanyabhi pravrittopi naiva kinchit karoti saha. So one who has given up attachment to the fruits of action and one who is always satisfied, unattached to worldly things, though engaged in action, does not do anything. And the Lord further says that one who is self-controlled, one who has renounced all possessions, material pleasures, one who is free from desires, though working to maintain his physical body, does not incur any sin. And the Lord further says that he who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is wise amongst all men. The wise man in reality accepts and sees actions at a body level, the physical level. At the physical level, one should always be active, performing the prescribed actions as given in the scriptures. But amidst all this action, a wise man realizes that the true I is the Atman, which is motionless, which is actionless. So a karma yogi renounces action by giving up the ego, by realizing the true nature of the Atma. While Atma is the prime motivator of all action, the Atman remains motionless. The person who has given up attachment to actions and their fruits is always content, and he does nothing while he is fully engaged in action. Our ancient spiritual seekers performed action likewise and got liberated. And Krishna tells Arjuna that, "O Arjuna, you too follow your forefathers and perform your actions as prescribed in the Vedic scriptures following the Nishkama karma path." And then the Lord talks about the glories of sacrifices, that is yajna. Yajna is the ancient Vedic ritual of fire worship. Having described selfless action in detail, the Lord talks about sacrifices next. One should cultivate the practice of seeing Brahman in everything. For such a person, in a yajna, in a sacrifice, the ladle, the ingredients poured into the fire such as ghee and grains, the fire itself, that is the Agni itself, the karta, the doer of the yajna, and the destination are all the Brahman. People perform different types of sacrifices. Some yogis worship gods, while others offer the self by the self in the sacrificial fire. Some celibate yogis offer the senses of hearing, seeing as oblation in the sacrificial fire, while others offer pleasing vision, that is grihasthas, householders. They offer pleasing vision, melodies to get desired wants. Other yogis are self-disciplined. They offer all the functions of senses in the yajna fire of self-control and discipline. And then there are other karma yogis who offer materials, austerity as sacrifices, and yet other seekers, they offer knowledge by studying of scriptures, by reading the scriptures aloud, by imparting knowledge to others. They offer sacrifice of knowledge, and Lord Krishna very clearly tells that knowledge sacrifice is superior to all other sacrifices. And then there are other yogis who do pranayama, that is they control their breath. So there are other yogis who do pranayama, that is these yogis control senses by regulating the pranic energy. And then you have other yogis who restrict food intake to control the senses. So the verses on sacrifices that describe the various types of sacrifices give us a method of worshipping the God through all activities. So while hearing, while seeing, while breathing, speaking, eating, by offering these actions to God, we can divinize our lives. The practice of offering everything to God gradually reduces all desires and purifies us and makes us wise and leads us to liberation. Talking about the various sacrifices, the Lord makes it very clear that knowledge sacrifice is superior. In continuation, he talks about the superiorities and glories of knowledge, and he also informs us about the way of getting knowledge. Taddiddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadharshinaha. So, a knowledge seeker in all humility should accept and prostrate before a guru. Jnani with absolute faith, that is, a guru should be a jnani, and the knowledge seeker with absolute faith and reverence should serve the guru. That is when the Lord tells jnani, he talks about the sages who have realized the truth. So when such a jnani, when such a guru is fully satisfied with the knowledge seeker because of his unquestioned, because of his absolute faith and because of his service, then he would be satisfied and he would instruct knowledge to the knowledge seeker. So the guru imparts knowledge as in the scriptures. Knowledge cannot be obtained through any other means. So once a spiritual seeker gains knowledge, he is not deluded. And then providing further insights on the glories of knowledge, Lord Krishna tells us how great a purifier knowledge is. Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitramiha vidyate tatsvayam yoga samsiddhaha kalenatmani vindati. So there's no great purifier like knowledge in this world. You may have other purifiers, water is a purifier, but knowledge is the greatest purifier because it removes us from ignorance. A karma yogi who is adept at practicing nishkama karma, that is not having any attachment on the fruits of action, he acquires knowledge in course of time. And further, Lord Krishna tells that knowledge fire distracts all actions. How does it destroy? Like how a blazing fire reduces firewood to ashes, likewise knowledge fire also reduces actions to ashes. A person with faith and single-minded commitment acquires knowledge, and thereafter he attains supreme peace. And then he talks about what happens to the ignorant and the skeptical. The doubter, the skeptical and the ignorant, they get destroyed. Not just in this world, that is in this Bhuloka, even in other worlds, other heavenly spaces, they do not find any peace or happiness. The karma yogi who practices nishkama karma and who uses knowledge to dispel doubts and unites his individual consciousness with that of the universal consciousness is not bound by karma. And then in the last 42nd shloka, the Lord asks Arjuna, he urges Arjuna to dispel all his doubts using the sword of knowledge. Tasmat jnana sambhutam hridstam jnana sinatmanah chitvainam samshayam yogam atishtottishta bharata. So, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, remove all your doubts with the sword of knowledge. Dispel all your doubts, all the ignorance in your heart, in your mind. Remove them with the sword of knowledge. And then Sri Krishna comes back to the original point that he has been wanting to make throughout in Bhagavad Gita. He tells Arjuna, be steady in karma yoga and stand up and get ready to fulfill your Kshatriya duty, that is, get ready to fight the battle. So in the next video, we would move to chapter 5. Chapter 5, which is Karma Sanyasa Yoga. That is a yoga of action and knowledge. So in this chapter, in the first 6 slokas, the Lord describes Sankhya Yoga and the yoga of disinterested action. That is Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is the yoga of disinterested action. And then he talks about the characteristics of Sankhya Yogi and Karma Yogi. And he also talks about the merits of both the yogis. And there is a detailed explanation of Jnana Yoga. And finally, he talks about the Dhyana Yoga, the yoga of meditation. And also about Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of devotion. Thank you.